Hey guys, and it's Marshall with you doing a tutorial of the brand new Legends teleport plugin. Um, the teleport plugin is a tool that makes transporting players around a lot easier. Now, you think of teleport, you typically think, okay, transport player from point A to point B, and yes, that's true. That does do that. However, it does do a lot of other things as well. Um, so much so that it was valuable enough to put in its own plugin. Some of the features that it will do is transport players again from point A to point B. It also supports server to server transport. So if you have multiple NWN2 servers and you want to move a player from one server to another, you can do that. It does dungeon instancing, so if you've ever played World of Warcraft and you know how you get your you walk through the little cloud and you get your own little private dungeon and no one else can enter, it can do things like that. So yeah, it does quite a bit. Some of it is pretty easy stuff, some of it is more advanced. The easy stuff, the simple stuff, single module stuff, you can actually even do it without needing a database. So if you're a single player module builder, some of this stuff will work for you. It can be pretty handy. It does things like players' campsites, so you can return players to where they originally logged in, or where they originally logged off in your world. You can do things like bind stones, where a player can carry around an item and activate it and return them to where they're bound. So you can do all sorts of different kinds of transport type things. So we're going to go through that. When we get into the advanced topics, you will need a database. You will need NWNX. But you will also need some knowledge on how to set up multiple servers. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe in the future I'll do a video series on how to set up, multiple servers for NWN2, how to share a player vault from server to server, things like that. But I'm not going to get into that kind of detail. Hopefully, if you are already looking at running multiple servers, you've researched that and have the ability to actually just run multiple servers. So I'm going to make a few assumptions there that you already know how to do that. And if not, let me know if you need some help setting up multi-server Neverwinter Nights 2, and I can do my best to help you. And I may do a video series in the future on some techniques to create multiple servers. So we'll dive right in here, and what I've got is just a brand new module, and there are no areas or anything in here, and all I've done is I've imported the ERF file, saved the module, and imported the teleport and master resources, and that's it. So the first thing we'll do is we'll fire up the master configurator here, and hit configure, and we'll activate the teleport plugin. As you can see, when we did that, the dungeon instance lit up. We're not going to use that yet. We'll use that later on, but we'll leave it for now. And for the first few videos, first few tutorials, you can actually use these in single player. You don't need a database, so we don't actually have to set this up. I am going to set it up right now, though, so I don't have to do it later, but just be aware that the first few tutorials, we don't even need a database, so if you're a single player module builder, you can use some of these features. So I have a database set up for this already. I'm just going to add that information in here. I believe it's called that. I think, yeah, that's right. And finish. Update our module scripts. I'm not going to update area scripts because we don't have any areas created yet, so that would be kind of pointless to do that. We'll fire up teleport plugin, file configure, and look at the teleport configuration screen. The first line item here is server ID. Now again, you don't need this if this is a single player module or you're not using server to server teleporting. When you start getting into dungeon instances, campsites, and multi-server environments, each server will have to have a unique ID, so you'll want to fill this field in for that. I'm just going to fill it in for now just so I don't have to later. But yeah, it's just a unique ID that you give your server name. If you have a second server or some dungeon instances, you'll give that a different ID. The module entry waypoint tag, this is going to be used for things called what we call campsites. Campsites are essentially the ability to put a player back in the location they logged off. So players' campsites are saved when they do an event, finish a quest, enter an area, rest, things like that. There's a whole slew of different things that a player can do to cause their current location to be saved. And when it's saved, they can log out, and the server can reset, and then the server can come back up, and they log back in, and they'll go back to where they were, so you don't have to start in the same town all the time and travel great distances to get back to where they were. To set that up, to use that function, you will need this. We're not going to do it now. I'll do it when I actually get to the campsites tutorial, which will be a little later. So I'm going to leave this blank for now. Bindstone reset minutes, again, I touched on one of the functions of the teleport plugin is the ability to have a player carry an item around, bind themselves to a location, and then use that item to transport themselves back to that location. This is the number of minutes, kind of like a cooldown that they can use their bindstone. So I'm just gonna leave it at 10. There is a tutorial that we'll go through later on bindstone, so I'll leave that one for that. Server active, we're going to leave this off for now. This is when we start getting into the multi-server environments. Campsites, again, when we get to that tutorial, we'll get into that one, so I'll leave that alone. And as usual, just to help keep your tables organized in your database, you can have prefix for all teleport-related tables. So we'll leave that as is, and we'll hit finish and quit. And when we're finished configuring both of them, we do the typical compile all of our scripts and quickly browse through, make sure there's no red. Looks good. And we'll give ourselves a quick save. And we don't have a start location yet, so that's okay. So we're all configured up and ready to actually start using it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new area here. And we'll just call it, I don't know, grassy field. It really makes no difference. And size is fine. Okay, and we're going to throw our little start location down right here, like so. Now, the first kind of teleport we're going to set up is the ability to transport a player from one point to another by clicking on an object. So you could create like a portal or some other kind of shiny magical doodad that a player can come along and click on, and when they click on it, they're transported to another place. So that's what we're going to set up first. It's relatively easy. I'm just going to grab a placeable over here on my palette, and I'm just going to grab one of these mushrooms here, and I'm just going to put it near where we spawn in. So this mushroom that I just grabbed is the standard palette mushroom from the blueprints, and I just plopped it down there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to grab a copy of this guy, and I'm just going to move it over here, and I'm going to grab a regular everyday waypoint from our blueprints here, waypoint, and we're going to put one here, and we're going to put one here. So how this works, how basic teleporting works, is a player will come along, click on this mushroom, and be teleported to this waypoint. And when he's here, he can click on this mushroom and be teleported to that waypoint. So pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do is we're going to give these waypoints some unique tags. So I'm just going to bring this over here. And we're just going to change the tag on this to dest1, destination 1. And then we're going to grab this other waypoint and we're going to change his destination to dest2. So we just remember that. This is dest1, this is dest2. So those are those two waypoints. Next, all we're going to do is grab this mushroom here. We'll fire up our teleport plugin on it. We'll go File, Teleport, Placeable Instance. This is a placeable instance mushroom, not a blueprint or anything like that, so we'll select Placeable Instance. And we'll get the teleport window. Now there's a lot to this screen. I'm not going to get into every option here yet. As we progress through the tutorials, we'll explore more of the options as we go. So I'm only going to go through the ones that we are actually going to use in this tutorial. And right now, that's not a whole lot. One of the biggest things to note with this, though, is that each item or each object or trigger or whatever it is that you're going to use to cause a teleport can have multiple destinations on it. So you can have various requirements for one destination and have completely different requirements for a different destination. One player who matches the first set of requirements will be transported to that place, and a different player with different requirements could be transported to a different place. So that's all configurable. But we're only going to have one destination on this to keep things simple right now. So this particular mushroom, we said, is going to bring us to that waypoint called dest1. So all we have to do is enter that waypoint destination. That's what this is, dest1. We're not going to do anything else with any of these other items, and we're going to click Add. as you can see, our destination comes down here in the destinations list. It's a type waypoint with no requirements. The destination is dest1. And we hit finish. That's done. We're going to go over to this mushroom here. And we're actually going to go plugins, teleport plugin, file, teleport, placeable instance. And we're going to do the same thing. Only this one is going to be dest2. Now, I could just simply click add here. But on this one, I'm going to make this one a little spicier. I'm going to add a teleport effect to this one. So down here in the teleport effect pull down, I'm going to grab one that I often like to use. There's a VFX. It's an on-hit effect for spell. Flame Strike. I really enjoy this one. This is one of my favorites. Now, when you're doing effects, not all of them are really appropriate. A lot of them don't lend themselves very well to what you want to accomplish. This one is one of them that to me does, and you'll see why when we get into it. So I'm going to add this teleport effect to this one, and we'll demonstrate that now in a second. So I'm just going to click add here and finish. So and that's it. We're done. We're going to save this now. Just go file and save. And as always, and I almost forgot to do this, when we're configuring a new area, we always either go into our master configurator and make sure our area scripts are updated, or we do it by hand right here. And I put in the leg all master on enter and the client enter, and the leg all master on exit and the on exit. Always remember to do that. And now we can save. So that's it. I'm going to cut this here real quick and fire up a different recording software and load it up in game and show you how it looks. Okay, so here we are in game, and you can see our two mushrooms that we have here. Again, this is the standard one. This one over here is the one that has the special effect on it. So I'm going to click on this one, and poof, we're over here to the other one. Now you didn't see much, but certainly we were transported from one to the other. Maybe we should put a little bit more scenery around this one so you can see that better, but there we go. We're being transported with no bells and whistles, no gimmicks or anything like that. However, when we click on this one, we get a little special effect, and we can go back and forth between these, traveling without moving. And pretty straightforward stuff. So that's a simple, the simple form of using the teleport plugin. So what we're going to do now is go back into the tool set and start looking at a few of the more advanced things we can do. So we'll see you back in the tool set.